4, distribution voltage transformer. Distribution voltage transformer definition: alternating current electrical voltage step-down transformer, transformer component. Transformer formula: transformer to turn ratio, performing the primary secondary voltage with the current relationship of distribution transformer rating. Distribution transformer specification: overhead conventional distribution transformer, overhead completely self-protected distribution transformer, single-phase pad-mounted distribution transformer, three-phase pad-mounted distribution transformer, transformer polarity test for the overhead distribution transformer connections. And let's move on to chapter 4, distribution voltage transformer. Distribution voltage transformer definition for the distribution transformer itself: a stacked device constructed with a two or more winding with the transfer alternating current electrical power with the electromagnetic induction with one circuit to another, the same frequency with a different value of the voltage of the current. The purpose of the distribution voltage transformer is to reduce the primary voltage of the electrical distribution with the utilization voltage of the product of the primary voltage of the primary current are equal to the product secondary voltage and the secondary current. Alternating current electrical voltage figure step-down transformer. Figure 4.1 shows the elementary part of the alternating current electrical voltage step-down transformer. Components coil, insulated wire with the continuously wrapped around with the transformer's core, with the core thin metal sheet with the range for the form of the classic magnetic circuit. Primary bushing: the high voltage attachment point with the transformer. The secondary bushing: low voltage attachment point with the transformer. The primary winding of the coil with the input voltage is applied, and show that the secondary winding of the coil with the output voltage is derived with the step-down transformer. The input voltage of the transformer is more than the output voltage. Step up the transformer: the input voltage of the transformer is less than the output voltage. Figure 4.1 shows that the secondary voltage is based with the primary voltage with the number of the turns of the primary winding of the number of the turns on the secondary winding. Your primary winding is high voltage but small currents, many in terms of iron core, few turns. Secondary windings, low voltage, large currents, sheet iron plates. Transformer formulas: V is for voltage. Voltage is equal to the volts per turn times the number of the turns. N. The voltage primary winding, V with the base of P, with the voltage secondary winding, V with the base of S. Current is primary winding, I with the base of P, with the current secondary winding, I with the base of S. Turn number of turns for the primary winding, number of turn N to the base of P. Number of turns for the secondary winding, number N with the base of S. Transformer turn ratio: the voltage primary winding over the number of turns in the primary is equal to the voltage of the secondary over the number of turns in the secondary. Or the voltage of the secondary is equal to the number of turns in the secondary over the number of turns in the primary times the voltage primary. Example: if the distribution transformer with the primary winding has 22,540 turns and secondary winding of 40 turns, the primary winding voltage is equal to 7,620 volts. Now determining secondary winding voltage. Then I show that in calculation, the solution and the primary secondary voltage would be the voltage primary times the amperes. Amperes primary times the voltage equal the volts in secondary times the amperes secondary, or amperes primary is equal to the voltage secondary over the voltage primary times the amperes secondary. If the voltage primary winding of the transformer is 7,620 volts, the secondary winding voltage with 120 volts secondary current as a result of the low impedance of 10 amps, determine the primary voltage. The amp primary is equal to the voltage secondary over the voltage primary with the E times the amp secondary. Amp primary is equal to 120 times the 10 over the 7,620 gives you 0.16 amps. Distribution transformer rating: overhead padded mounted distribution transformer rating. See table 4.1. Overhead type of the single phase would be, and pad mounted single phase and three phase would be overhead single phase 5 and 15, 10 and 30, 15 and 45, 25 and 35, 37 and a half to 112. Half the 50 to 150, 75, and then notice that they jump up 3 times 3, and the overhead to single to three phase, and the pad mount goes up, jumps up 3 kilovolt amps from single to three phase, except for 160. Let's go to distribution transformer specification. Overhead conventional distribution transformer. The typical specification for the single phase overhead distribution transformer. Figure 4.2 would read as follows: the standard cover, the electrical care of the mechanical feature for the single phase with the 60 Hz mineral oil immersed self-cooled conventional overhead type of the transformer array with the 15, 25, 50, 75, 100, and 176, 7 kilovolt and with a high voltage of the 720, 7,200 over the 12 with the 470 Y connection, 7,200. 7,620 over 13 with the 200 Y connection, over the 7,970 over the 13,800 Y volts. The low voltage is 120 to 200 volts, but the don't tap the units should be conventional transformer design there was no integral fuel for the secondary breaker over voltage protection. All requirements should incorporate the latest revisions of the ANSI C571200 ANS C571220 with except the modified with the stamp of the transformer shall be barcoded in accordance with the proposed EEI barcode distribution transformer proposed EEI guideline with the manufacturer serial number. The serial shall be barcoded on the nameplate. The serial number of the manufacturer company ID, if given, and shall be marked with the code with the temporary label. The transformer shall meet the interchangeable dimension for the single position mounting in the shown figure 1 through 9 of the ANSI C571220 with the true primary bushing shall be wet product for the porcelain cover the mount with the primary connection for the shall be tin plated mounts with the eye bolt type with the H1 bushing with the supply of the wildlife protected with the eye bolt with the connector with the equipment covered and now tightening the device for the eye bolt connector shall be except for the 5/16 of the diameter kernel stand terminal with it should show overhead connection, conventional distribution transformer, primary bushing, secondary bushing, verifying 7 feet and 5 and 5 foot or 3 6 foot 3.5 6 foot. Secondary bushing verify this should be the overhead distribution conventional distribution transformer. Wildlife protector and plate for the secondary bushing will set shall be wet process with the porcelain epoxy mount with a tank wall with the secondary connected with the shall be in with the ANSI C's 57, the 12, and the 20 with the section 612, with except for the terminals of 75 kilovolt and with the 12 and 240 volt, with the unit shall be accommodated with up to 1,000 kc mils or 61 strand with the conductor. The cover transformer coated with the wild protection and the coating shall be rated with at least 10 kilovolt AC or root mean square with the insulating finish for the cable with this stand with 10 kilovolt at 200 volt per second arrive with the test with the ASTM D14987 using electrode type 3 with a quarter cylindrical around the transformer tank with the cover that shall be designed with the stand with the internal pressure with the 20 psi gauge without tank of the rupture bushing of the cover to displacement shall withstand internal pressure with the 7 psi gauge without the permanent distortion transformer tank that shall be retained with the shape of the cover that remove to support the lugs in simple position. Mounting shall be provided and shall be designed load to provide the static load safety factor for the 5 with the lifting look up with the location safety factor is specified with the ANSI C57, the 12, and the 20 with the tank with the cover finish in the light gray with number 70 with the interior shall be covered with a durable protective finish with the top at least below with the upper liquid with the web of the transformer shall be equivalent to 10 gram per ANSI C57, the 12, and the 20 paragraph 6541 with the eye bolt with except for the American wire gauge 6 with the solid copper with the ground wire with the tank ground with the ground strap connection with the ground with the strap with properly side with the current carrier load faulty connected with the secondary neutral terminal with the tank ground with the ground strapping that shall be supplied with connection hold at the end of the J hook with the slide with the connection points that shall not be allowed. The transformer shall be equipped with neutral Puro and Buna and gaskets on the all primary secondary bushing with the tank fittings. A quadruple 202 03201 automatic pressure relief device for operating with the indication of proof of the equivalent of the cover the assembly designed to relieve the excessive pressure for the corners for the ANSI C57, the 12, and 20, section 6272, then shall be supplied with the transformer. The final core assembly shall result the rigid assembly with the maintains full mechanical electrical distribution stability under fault condition. The core insulation system shall consist of the electrical craft paper layer with the insulation coated with the bull side with the thermo setting adhesive curing on the coil shall be covered with a permanent bound layer to layer. With the turn to turn, the internal primary leads shall have the significant length of the permanent cover with the removal of the lead disconnection from the high voltage bushing of these leads, the adequate anchor for the coil, the assembly with the minimum of the risk of the damage for the coil connection during the cover with the removal. The internal secondary line leads shall identify the appropriate marker within most with the sample visible portion of the secondary lead near the end of the connection with the bushing. These leads shall have the connection and length of the permanent sear of the parallel with the connection with the secondary windings. In the internal secondary lead with the soft with aluminum oil alloy. Tab shall be wet with the bushing and lead with the connection with the bushing. The transformer shall be designed with the voltage regulation not exceeding 2.5% with the fully loaded with their 8/10 of the power factor. The transformer covered with the specification. All transformers shall be filled with the type 1 insulating oil with the means for the following requirements. All applicable to the same requirements of the ASTM D3487 with the paragraph 82A with the minimum breakdown voltage with the 28 kilovolt for the ASTM D1816 paragraph 84A with the 4/10 of the inch gap of the PCB with the contact shall be in 2 parts per million with the which shall be no with the nameplate with the additional the manufacturer shall be provided with the install with no PCB identification tank wall near the bottom of the tank in the center below with the low voltage bushing. The decal shall not be left within 1 by 2 inch in the south and shall not indicate and shall indicate no PCB for the blue letter white black background significant durable with the remain legible with the life of the transformer. Overhead to completely self-protective distribution transformer. Alright, typical specification complete with the self-protected single phase overhead with the distribution transformer. Figure 4 they would read as follows: the distribution transformer overhead with the type with the single phase with the 25 kilovolt gauge capacity 13,000 200 with the grid Y connection, 7,620 over the 101 to 120 to 240 volt. With the 90 kilovolt with the BIL, with the self-protected with the primary weak linking fused and the secondary circuit breaker with the radio overload warning light. Over oil insulated with the self-cooled no tab with the 60 Hz with no one surge arrested with one primary bushing wildlife with the secondary eyeball with the connector with equipment with the insulated with the hand knob with the tightening device designed with the except with the 516 with the diameter curl with the stud and terminal with the loud life protector with the plate with the tank with the ground with the eyeball designed with the except with the number 6 with the solid copper with the ground wire with the tank ground with the terminal with the ground strap with the connection with the ground strap properly to carry out the faulty current with the connection between the secondary and neutral terminal with the tank ground terminal with the cover with code to protect the 10 kilovolt AC with the Baroque mean square protection with the life with 65 degrees Celsius rising rate with the sky gray with the color quattro number to 202 with the 03201 automatic pressure device with the operation indication improved with the equivalent of the standard accessory the primary weekly link fuse standard circuit breaker with the red overload with the warning lights shall connect with the coordinate with the compatible with the nameplate ratings. The rest shall be with a 9 to 10 kilovolt directly connected to the lead to the distribution class surge restaurant corner with the latest revision 8 size stand with the C62.2 with the ground with the lead disconnected for wildlife protected with the rest or primary lead shall have the minimum length with the 24 inch with the weatherproof with the deck of the extension with the line side with the converting current limiting fuse to be insulated with the primary bushing in the field. Figure 4 show the overhead complete self-protected distribution transformer. Current limiting fuse with the lightning arrest with the secondary bushing of the primary bushing, the verified with the 2 foot minimum transformer, and all requirements should be in accordance with the latest revision A and size C 57 with the 12 with the 20 with the except with the modified specification transformer shall barcode in accordance with the proposed EEI barcoding distribution transformer pro EEI guideline with the manufacturer of the serial number that shall be made code with the name of the serial number of the manufacturer company with the item the ID with the given with the barcode with the temporary label. The transformer shall meet the interchangeable dimension with a single position motion mounting shown figure 1 and 9 with the ANSI C 77 and 12 with the 20 with all the transformers shall be filled with the type of 1 insulating oil with the means to the following requirements. All applicable requirements ASTM D3480 paragraph 82A minimum breakdown 28 kilovolt with the ASTM D1816 paragraph 84A using a 4/10 of the inch cap with the PCB content shall be left with the 2 parts per million shall be with the note with the name plate each with the identification for the manufacturer provided with the insulation no PCB identification tank well with the near the bottom of the tank sensor below with the low voltage bushing. Details should not be left with 1 inch by 2 inch from the side of the shell indicate with the no PCBs in the blue lettering in the white background with the sufficient durable with the remain legible for the life of the transformer. The specification of the can be chambered to meet with the kilovolt amps capacity with the voltage required with the chamber with the high voltage state with the specification would require with the chamber with the relay with the items of the specification to obtain the proper insulation surge withstanding capabilities. Single phase pad mount with the distribution transformer. Typical specification single pad single phase pad mounted distribution transformer figure 4.4 would read as follows. Distribution transformer low profile dead front pad mount with a single phase with a 50 kilovolt capacity with a 1324 grid Y connection with a 70 over 7,620 volts to 120 to 240 volts. OIC 945 kilovolt BIL 60 Hz with a 65 degrees Celsius with the rise rating with a no tap with the primary winding. Requirements should be in accordance with the latest revision ANSI C 57 to 25 with except for the modified the specification transformer should be equipped with the 2 primary bolts with the bushing with the well with the rate with the 8.3 kilovolt with the 200 amp with the accordance with the latest revision ANSI IEEE 3086 bushing well with equipped with 8.3 to 14.4 kilovolts. Alright, this shows the C note 1 T note 1 6-inch minimum 8-inch minimum on the high side rough grade C note 3 C section secondary terminations attached using access concentric neutral wire C note 4. Alright, details ground bus arrangement in front C note 3 the attaching drain notes attaching the drain wire to the piece of the concentric neutral wire each for the bushing insert for the bushing with the clamp and flame. 2 install the faulty indicator sent for the source for the side of the elbow so install F1010 with the faulty indicator installation instruction. 3 attach the end of the ground bus neutral secondary termination C detail A. 4-1 concentric neutral stand is to be connected to the wire drain the wire lobe single phase pad distribution transformer figure 4. 2000 amps load break with the bushing insert for the equipment accompanied with the load break of the elbows with the second section of the cable and loop free primary system. Secondary terminals are to be equipped with the bolts with the same of the cotton per thread of the steps the own of the ground shall be provided with the outer surface with the tank with the lower voltage with the neutral shaft with the fully installed with the bushing move with the ground strap side with the rating of the transformer shall be provided with the connection between the neutral bushing and the ground terminal on the tank of the transformer. The high voltage, low voltage ground pads that inside of the transformer shall be equipped with the eyeball connected except with the 1.1 over the 1 to 0 bear with the copper wire. The transformer shall be equipped with the RTE bayonet with approved with equivalent external replaceable overload sensing primary fuse with the coordinated overload secondary fault protection coordinated with the series with the 8.3 kilovolt partial range current limiting fuse. The current limiting fuse shall be decided will not operate with the secondary shorts with the transformer. The overload with the current limiting fuse shall be installed under the oil side over the transformer tank. Each of the loading sense of the core limiting fuse which should be divided for the capable of withstanding 15 kilovolt system or cover the voltage across the open fuse. The transformer should be equipped with the oil drip to serve directly below the bayonet with the fuse hole to prevent the oil dripping from the primary elbow of the bushing during the removal of the fuse. The transformer hosing should be designed with a tamper the resistant to prevent the unauthorized access. The transformer shall be barcoded in accordance with the proposed EEI barcoding distribution transformer proposed EEI guideline with the manufacturer serial name of the barcode with the nameplate with the serial number of the manufacturer company item ID with the given above the shall be barcoded with the temporary label specification above the transformer and need with the fill with the Type 1 insulation oil that I have discussed earlier in the transfer chapter. All transformers shall be filled with the Type 1 insulating oil that meets the following requirements. All applicable requirements to the ASTM D384-87 of the paragraph 82A minimum breakdown voltage 28 kilovolt per ASTM D1860 in paragraph 84A view with the 4 and an 10th of an inch gap. The PCB content shall be not left for the 2 parts per millimeter which have not noted provided with the insulated no PCB at the location of the tank of the wall near the bottom of the tank center below with the low voltage bushing. The decal should not be left for the 1 by 2 inch of the surface to indicate no PCB of the blue lettering white background with the sufficient durable with the remainable legible with the life of the transformer. The specification can be changed with the meet with the kilovolt amps and capacity with the voltage required with the chain with the high voltage state with the specification would require with the chain with the relay of the items of the specification to obtain with the proper insulation surge with its capabilities. Your 3-phase pad mounted distribution transformer typical specification. 3-phase pad mounted distribution transformer would read as follows. The distribution transformer with the 3-phase dead from 300 kilovolt amp with the high voltage rating with the rated at 13,800 grid wide with the connection at 7,970 volt with the low voltage winding rate of 280 ground wide connection 120 volt with the high voltage winding shot with the 4.5% taps below the rate voltage and no load tap changer which switch is located with the high voltage compartment. All requirements shall be for the latest revision ANSI 5712 to 26 the chain with the specification transformer housing all designed for the tamper resistant with the prevent unauthorized access according to the latest revision. C-Note 1, C-Note 2, and 5 C-section of the second determination fold of the indicator second of the C-Note 3 and C-Note 4 inside door front view. 1 attached drain with the Notes 1. Attach the drain with the wire each of the bushing well with the clamp of the flames. 2. Then install the faulty indicator concerned with the surface of the side elbows with both concentric neutral stand. The elbows C drilling F1 020 for the fault indicator installation instruction. 3. The concrete pad conductivity elbow for the ground rod sleeve that be furnished for the customer. 4. Attach end of the ground bus for the secondary terminator with the 5. The 1 centric neutral stand with the owner of the current sensor for the applicable connected with the drain wire probe and the elbow. Figure 4 or 5 show the 3-phase pad mounted distribution transformer. Western Underground Committee of the guide with the 2.13s entered titled the security of the pad mounted equipment that enclosed with the transformer shall have the specific design with the type of the transformer loop feed system with the latest revision ANSI C5712 the 26 transformer primary bushing well with the pack parking stand with the shall be located with the shown with the stand with the primary and secondary and one with the transformer should be the with the 5-legged core with the tank of the grid Y with the grid Y. Transformer should be equipped with the 6-volted Pro bushing with the wells rated with the 8.3 kilovolt with 200 amps with the corners with the latest revision ANSI IEE 386 with the bushing well with the equipped with the 8.3 to 14.4 kilovolt 200 amp load braking bushing insert with the accommodated load braking elbows for the sectionalized and capable loop feed primary system. Transformer secondary bushing with the equipped with the the complete with the brown spade with the terminal low voltage neutral shall have the fully insulated bushing with the removal of the ground strap at the side of the rating with the transformer shall provide the connection between the neutral bushing terminal with the ground terminal with the compartment of the tank of the transformer. High low voltage compartment shall be each of the ground terminal with the transformer the tank equipped with the high volt connectors designed to accept 1 to 0 bare copper wire with the ground pad should be to provide with the external surface of the transformer tank. The high voltage terminal should be transformer winding shall be separated with the metal barrier. The transformer shall be equipped with the RTE bayonet or approved the equivalent external replace overload sensing primary fuse for the coordinate the overload secondary fault protector for the coordinated and within the 8.3 kilovolt the partial range of the current limiting fuse. But the current limiting fuse shall not operate with the secondary short circuit or the transformer overload of the current limiting of the fuse shall be installed under the oil side of the transformer tank. Each load tendency of the current limiting fuse of the device to be capable of withstanding 15 kilovolt system. Recover the voltage across the open fuse of the transformer should be equipped with the oil drip shield with directly below the bayonet to prevent the oil dripping with the primary elbow of the bushing during the removal of the fuse of the tank of the transformer tank shall be removed over the handhold of the tank with the resistance design quattro over the number 22032 with the 01 with the automatic pressure for the relief device for the operating in this case for the proof with equivalent shall be supplied with the transformer. The transformer tank shall be equipped with a 1-inch oil drain valve built in the oil sampling device. The transformer should be the barcode and code with the proposed EEI barcoding distribution transformer proposed EEI guideline. Manufacturer serial number shall be barcoded with the nameplate with the serial number of the manufacturer of the company ID, but it shall be if given it shall be with the barcode with the temporary label. All transformers shall be filled with the type 1 insulating oil of the media. The following requirements all applicable requirements to ASTM D3487 to paragraph 82A with the minimum breakdown voltage 28 kilovolt with the per ASTM D1816 paragraph 84A with the U with the 410 with the inch gap. The PCB content shall be left with the 2 parts per million, which shall be noted at the bottom of the nameplate of each of the addition manufacturer provided with the insulation. No PCB identification with the tank wall with the near or the bottom of the tank sign with the below with the low voltage bushing. The decal shall not be left with the 1-inch by 2-inch side with the shell indicate. No PCB in blue lettering with a white background with the vision with the durable with the remain legible for the life of the transformer. The specification chain with the meet the kilovolt amps and capacity of the voltage required by the chain with the high voltage state with the specification would require the chain with the relay of the item of the specification to obtain the proper insulation surge with the same capabilities. Transformer polarity. Subtractive polarity when the current flow over the same direction of the 2 adjacent primary and secondary terminals. The additive polarity when the current flow over the opposite direction of the 2 adjacent primary and secondary terminals. Polarity test overhead of the distribution transformer. Polarity may be further explained with the file with the management of the single phase with the transformer with the 2 high voltage with the 3 low voltage external terminal with the connect 1 high voltage terminal with the adjacent low voltage terminal. Apply with the test voltage across the 2 low voltage, 2 high voltage terminal, then the voltage across the unconnected high voltage, low voltage terminals is left of the voltage applied across the high voltage terminal. Polarity is subtractive if the greater than the voltage applied across the high voltage terminal. The polarity is additive. Alright, figure 4-6 show the skew stretching of the polarity marking the direction voltages of the polarity subtractive. Figure 4 show the sketch of the polarity markings of the direction of the voltage of the when the polarity is additive. Alright, 4H of the polarity test diagram of the overhead distribution transformer show the apply of the 220 volt of the test connection on the left of the read volt of the 216 volt of the voltmeter with the 240 volt of the of the and 24 volt 10 to 1 ratio of the X1 and X2 X3 over the between the triple and then on the right you see applied 200 volts between H and 1 and you'd have 240 volts with the 10 to 1 ratio 24 to 1 volts X, Y, and 3 read volts to 264 voltmeter. This shows the figure 4H of the polarity testing diagrams overhead distribution transformer. Distribution transformer connection with the figure 4-9 with the 417 show the following distribution transformer connection. Distribution transformer pole type single phase with the 2-wire service with the 3-phase with the 3-wire delta underground source of the figure 4-9 with the distribution transformer pole type single phase with the 3-wire service with the 3-phase with the 3-wire delta underground figure 410. Alright, so the 3-phase wire delta underground primary system overhead distribution transformer H1 H2 with the centered tap X1 and X2 X3 120 volt single phase with 2-wire services. Single phase with overhead pole type of the distribution transformer connection 120 volt 2-wire secondary service with the transformer secondary coils connected in parallel. Alright, this shows the H1 H2 3-phase delta underground primary system the distribution transformer that knows the X3 X2 X1 120 volt 240 volts X2 is grounded. This shows single phase distribution transformer connected to provide 120 volt 240 volt 3-wire single phase with the service with the transformer secondary coils when they're connected in the series. Distribution transformer pole type single phase with the 3-wire from the 3-phase with the 4-wire with the wire Y ground and source figure 411. The secondary single phase connection internal distribution transformer pole type 412 413 shows 4,160 volts between C, B, and A, and then from B to the end you'd have an end is the grounded to 2400 volts and A to N 2400 volts, giving you C to A 4600 volts and C to N would be 2400 volts. H to 1 distribution transformer XY X to X2 is grounded, X1 and X3 are 120 volts and split 240 volts. Alright, single phase distribution transformer connected to provide with a 120 200 volt 3-wire single phase with the strip of the primary one and connected to like with the neutral ground with the node for the phase of the phase voltage for the 4600 volt with 4160 volt with this equal to the square root of 3 or 1.73 times the phase of the neutral voltage 24 volt on 500 volts over the 4160 volts equals the square root of 3 times the 2400 volts. Shift for the high voltage H1 and high H2, then the low voltage to the right of that. The left shift for the connection of 120 for 240 volt 3 wires. Shift for the 200 volt for the 2 wires. Shift for the neutral bushing connector that's connected with the jumper between pair terminals B and C. Inside of the transformer, take with the 120 volt for the 2 wires. Shift for the connection with the made with it shown with the right view with all the connections complete inside of the transformer tank. Shift for the additive 3-wire series and subtractive 3 wires here. So you have across C and B, A to B and C to B, D, X321, X123, A, C, B, B and D. 3-wire series additive X21, A, C, B, D, subtractive AC, X1, A, X2, DB, and then D for X3. Your additive X2 to X1, 2 wires, subtracted X1 to X2, standard low voltage connection for the distribution transformer. Or your distribution transformer pole type 3-phase with ground Y with the ground to Y connection. The distribution transformer pole type with the 3-phase delta the connection. North of the triangle is delta connection. The distribution transformer pole type 3-phase delta Y connection. Show the delta triangle and the Y for the WYE connection. Distribution transformer pole type open data connection 3-phase figure 416 with the Y your Y primary 4 wires A, B, C, and M grounded with N. Show the H1 and H2 on the tops of each of the transformers. Then you have three different transformers wired both the same X2, X1, X2, X1, X2, X1 dropping A, B, C 208 volts, 120 volts between BC and NC. The also show the zero angular displacement between the A neutrals in the middle of the ground with the A, B, C, and then like a smaller O angular neutral B ground. 3-phase Y pole transformer connection either between 208 volt Y to 128 volt. 123 volts, 3-phase with a 3-phase 4-wire primary, secondary, primary bushing transformer. Also, H2 terminal with the transformers. The primary winding would be connected with the tank of the transformer. Delta primary, 120 volt. Show the delta secondary ABC minor, and grounded zero angular displacement. Notice that the H1 H2 transformer coil is the show the X1. X2, X3, X2 is grounded. X3 goes to X1 in the second transformer. X1 goes to the X3 in the last transformer. You'd have 3-phase delta pole type transformer connection. You would obtain 240 volts, 120 volts, single phase service, 200 volt, 3-phase service, and 3-phase 3-wire primary with the transformer secondary with connection for the bushing of the X2. Provide the serve with a single phase 120 200 volt service. Or you have 3-phase 3-wire ungrounded delta primary system. A to B, A to C with the 13,200 volts, the 13,200 volts. A to B, B to C 13,200 volts. All going through so you have A to B to the transformer 1, B to C, transformer 2, C to A, transformer 3. N being N is all X2 goes to N, which is grounded. X3 does not touch X2 and XY across, giving you N to A, N to B, N to C. 120 volts, 120 volts, 208 volts between C to A, which would be X1 to X, and then 208 volts. 3 single phase distribution transformer connected. Delta Y winding to be rated with the primary solar system desired secondary voltage. Alright, you have the delta primary, H1 to H2, A to H1, H2 to H1, split between B, H1, H2, C, lowercase a, B, and C, X1 to X1 to X1, X3 to X1, X1 to A, X2, 200 volts, 240 volts, 200 volts, 40 volts delta secondary. Figure 4.6, 17, two single-phase transformer connected within the bank with the transformer power, 3-phase primary voltage, 240 volt, 3-phase primary secondary is open delta connection connected. And that's the note. Take notes. There's notes and more notes, and we should be on chapter 5, wood pole structure. Wood pole structure.